Hello everybody, it's the 21st of March today, and what you see in front of you on the turntable is the ingredients for the beginnings of a new fusion project, a weeping willow fusion project, using these branches that I cut off a larger piece of weeping willow that you might have seen in the video I released recently. If not, it'll be on the channel, and I'll try and remember to put a link. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to try to use this plastic beaker as a kind of mould, and when I find that hairband I will be holding the trees to it with that initially, and then bury the whole thing into this pot full of soil, and then the whole pot of soil into a bucket of water, and hopefully enough of these pieces of willow will root and eventually will fuse and create me a chunky chunked weeping willow. Okay, so found the hairband. Hopefully it'll not go flying off again. I think it's gonna, but maybe the lumpy bumpy bits of wood will hold it in place. And if you look at that weeping willow video from, as they say, from a week or so ago, notice I said there were a couple of suckers which I've now retrieved, so I'm going to start with those two that already have roots. I'm going to have to do a little bit of trimmage, not too much, but just shorten that a little, get rid of that piece. Okay, so now I'm thinking this isn't going to work as well as I thought. Never mind, we can but try. I'm thinking if I put them on each side, fiddly fingers. This is going to be one of those jobs where I should have done it a month ago when they weren't in a leaf. I'm going to find sticking bits other than that in the middle difficult, but what is it they say about nothing worthwhile is easy? So I'm going to use some of these bigger pieces. I'll just cut that off there, like so, and I'm going to try all of them, any and all pieces that I can. And I'm just going to tuck them in. This is obviously going to be too long. If I cut that off there, I can actually use some of these pieces as well. Strip off some of the leaves, stick a piece in. You get the idea with that. So I will cut away now and see what else. See you in a minute when I've worked my way round. Okay, so I've got as much as I can wrapped around this cup, the hairband is insisting on riding up, and if I let go now the whole thing's going to collapse and fall over. But I'm going to try and use this stuff, which is elastic pet bandage that I use to hold Cooper's socks on when he's out and about. They stop his feet getting scuffed and sore where he doesn't run on his pads. But I think that'll hold it steady. It will keep it very wet, because obviously this will soak up the moisture. But that's what I want for this particular project anyway. So I want these to be wet enough to root into something. So I'm going to try and do that off camera, because I think I'm going to need 3 hands and I've only got 2. And I think it would be better just to concentrate on what I'm doing rather than trying to film it. Okay, hello you. Oops, sorry. So in addition to the pet bandage, I've also wrapped a piece of wire around. So I'm now going to pull in nice and tight. Hold those all in place. Again, a little bit of slippage up the slope of the cup, which is a bit of a nuisance. And I'm going to have far too much growth up top, so I'm going to remove some of these pieces, like so. Because obviously I want the tree to taper. And be thinner at the top than at the bottom. So I'm going to take out this big thick piece, but at a point where I have a leaf. So I want that leaf to continue drawing the sap up and putting sugars down to help produce root. I'm also going to try and stick some of these pieces that I've just chopped off in behind that piece of wire. If I can find a gap sufficient. And again, I've got to be really careful because it's going to slide off the top of the cup. No. Okay, so that's not going to work, but I am now just going to wrap a piece of wire at this point, and I know I'm trapping in some leaves, but I'm not worrying about fusing the top too much at this point, in so much as I just want to get rootage. So for my next trick, we're going to pot it up. Okay, so I've got a large pot. I've got a piece of old envelope in the bottom just to stop the substrate running straight out the bottom of these larger holes. Well, that'll rot in next to no time, but by the time it does, this compost should be well truly firm and settled, and it shouldn't run out to the bottom. Plus it'll be sat in the bottom of the bucket, so hopefully by the time it's full of roots it won't be an issue. The compost I'm using is almost 50% organic, more than 50%, probably 60% organic peat-free compost, and I'm just going to part fill that pot like so, and then I'm going to plant this whole thing in like so, and fill round it. To the top of the pot. Now there's a big air gap, I know, inside the cup, but that's right, 'cause I want the roots to run outwards to the outside of the pot, not inwards anyway. So will that work? Of course. Of course, he says. I have no idea whether any of this will work, apart from I know willow, even thick pieces of willow, will root if you keep them in water. So it has a very good chance, as did the big chunk that was the parent of all this, just sat in a pot of soil in the pond, rooted beautifully. I'm not going to put this in the pond, I'm going to put it in a bucket of water. Said bucket. There we have it. So let's move you over. So every time I water, I'm going to top this up till the bucket is full, and hopefully they will all root, and then come the autumn, when the tree loses all its leaves, I can undo this piece of wire and bring them in, create a shape, create that taper that I want. But for now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to trim off some of these long pieces, like so, and I'm just going to insert them around the outside, and see if they root. Let's take those leaves off, see if they root, and if they do, they'll get potted up separately, and then they can maybe be added in to this project, or even the other one at a later date. So that's it, just a little bit of fun. I do all these silly things so that you don't have to, but if you want to, why not? So not much to see. This is the beginning of a new playlist, Weeping Willow Fusion, and maybe in 4 or 5 years time we'll have something. I'll have something, or that playlist will come to a screeching halt as everything dies. But I will, as always, I will let you see that as well. For good or ill, Sid's Trees, that's what the channel's about. Thank you so much for watching, I really do appreciate it. Do all the usual YouTube things, the liking, the subscribing, the commenting below. But most of all, please, 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 stay safe everybody.